Hello and welcome back to OmniFit TV. This is your host Omar speaking, and today I'm going to cover, cover and preview or review Group E of Euro 2021. We have Spain, Slovakia, Poland, and Sweden in this group. We have two-time winner Spain, who won it in 2008 and 2012. Runners-up, they were semi-finalists, Sweden in 1992. And both sides have reached the quarterfinals, respectively. You have Poland and Slovakia, both having reached the quarterfinals of the 2016 edition. Yep. As written. Can't get a foot wrong, can't I? Okay. Anyways, let's start with Spain. Luis Enrique inherited a very, a Spain side in the twilight era of their golden era. Twilight stage of their golden era, having, put together a team that was basically shedding its skin in the 2018 World Cup. And I think the catalyst and the event that proved to everyone that this Spain team was done and dusted, that generation, was their loss against Russia in the quarterfinals of the FIFA World Cup. They played horribly under Herrera, and I think Luis Enrique was actually the right person to be brought in to steer the ship properly. And, if you're familiar with the fact that Julen Lopetegui actually lost his job before the tournament because he had agreed to become Real Madrid manager after the tournament, and the Spanish FA found out, so they basically sacked him. It's one of the strangest occurrences I think I've ever heard of before a World Cup. And I think it played a huge role in the domino effect that led us to, where we are now. Here's the weird part. This Spain side has almost no Barcelona or Real Madrid influences. Their spine, so to speak, is a mixture of players from other teams across La Liga, which I think says a lot about the standards of Barcelona and Madrid in regards to nurturing their own Spanish players. And it also says a lot about how standards have dropped for the Spanish national team in general. Now, I'm saying that in comparison to their golden generation. Now, that term gets thrown around a lot, and I've heard it a lot recently, but if you look at that Spain team from 2008 until 2012, you can't go wrong with that. Now, key players. I think Ferran Torres is going to be key. I think Marcos Llorente is an absolute workhorse. He can play in almost any position. He's been deployed everywhere with both Atletico Madrid and Spain. He plays as a right winger, a right back, a flippant central defensive midfielder, which is his original role. I still have no idea how Real Madrid let him go. And I think he could cause a lot of problems, not if deployed correctly, but, if he plays. He's a very good player. I rate him quite highly. It's not really that often you come across a player who just knows how to function wherever you throw him. You have Rodri from Man City. And I would say Thiago Alcantara if he actually gets his, shit together. But the focal point of this Spanish side is definitely going to be Gerard Moreno up front. The 29-year-old Villarreal striker has done quite well this season to turn heads. He's scored over 30 goals. He's done very well for his side. He's just won the Europa League. Villarreal's first ever major trophy. He's got to be coming away from that with a ton of confidence heading into the Euros. I think that Spain, with this crop of players, with this side, are easily going to finish first. And also, you have to keep in mind that Aymeric Laporte is also a part of the squad now because he switched allegiance from France to Spain due to his Basque parents. Now, there has been talk about that and how he didn't necessarily or properly communicate his choice to change nationalities to French manager Didier Deschamps, but I'm not going to give that much attention. Moving on to Poland. Poland had an absolute horror show in the 2018 World Cup. It was one of the worst performances I had ever seen by a national team. it was just absolutely abysmal. I think abysmal is the right word. They were uncoordinated, unorganized, and just they didn't play. I think the word uncoordinated sums up a lot. Now, I think that this team, currently under Paulo Sousa, who was hired by the Polish FA after they sacked a previous manager at the beginning of this year in January. He was hired to supposedly bring in an attacking football-minded approach, and he's going to have the chance to do that in this tournament, despite the fact that they don't really have notable names, apart from Lewandowski, Klich, Fabianski, and Szczesny. 2 of them are goalkeepers. Keep that in mind. Now, I personally rate Klich quite highly, because he's been a very good player for Leeds throughout the past 2 seasons under Bielsa. And who can't rate Lewandowski? You just need to find a way to figure out who's going to help him score these goals. If there isn't that much cohesion in the side, then I doubt he's going to be as effective as he usually is. And he's had a brilliant season. He's had an absolutely brilliant season. Breaking Gerd Muller's Bundesliga goal record, it says enough on its own. On to Sweden. Sweden under Jan Andersson have been a very optimistic side. They've played some very solid football. And I say solid because, they've been very well organized. There's a good mixture of youth and experience in the side. They haven't really shown that they've been in need of Ibrahimovic, despite the fact that he's been injured. They've done very well without him. They've played some very big sides throughout the past year, and I think that's helped them a lot. They're heading into the tournament in good spirits. There's a lot of togetherness that's been injected into this side. I think Anderson has done a pretty good job to manage them well enough. They reached I think it was the round of 16 in the last World Cup. So they've been relevant for a while now, slowly going up the ladder, so to speak. But obviously their most notable appearance in the Euros was the semi-final of 92. Not sure if they're going to top that this time, but I do rate them ahead of Poland to finish second in the group because their team is it's a team. They have a proper team, good players in every position, good manager. There's credibility there. So I cannot discount that. And with Paulo Sousa having only been in the job now for 6 months, with the Poland side that just doesn't have, that edge in midfield, and both of their goalkeepers are some of their most notable players. I think that says enough. Speaking of relevance, Slovakia have made it to their 2nd consecutive Euro. They have done very well, despite the fact that their head coach was sacked and the assistant manager, Stefan Tarkovic, replaced him for the playoffs. And he got them through the playoffs to the tournament. It's fair to say that they've enjoyed a good bit of relevance. The last time they were, a topic of conversation was in the last Euros when they gave England and Russia a headache in the group stages, reached the round of 16 in the 2016 edition of the tournament, and they were knocked out by Germany. You have to admit, that's not necessarily bad at all. There's no shame being knocked out by Germany. Just, ask me. I was depressed when they knocked Greece out in the 2012 edition of the Euros. And yeah, I have a deep love and support for Greece, but that's, another issue. Just felt like sharing that. Key players. Skriniar will definitely be key. He's been brilliant for Inter this season. Helped them to their first Scudetto in 10 years under Conte. He's been, a notable name at the back. I would say that obviously, this goes without saying, don't even have to bring it up, but Hamšík. Marek Hamšík. Quite possibly the best Slovak player, not the best Slovak player as a matter of fact, to have ever graced the pitch in a Slovak shirt. Their top scorer, brilliant center attacking midfielder. He was brilliant with Napoli, spent a very long time there. I think he plays in Gothenburg now. Not entirely sure about that. I'll check later. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. And I think Labotka, of Napoli would also be quite the important player at center defensive midfield. Now, here's the thing. This Slovak side could easily cause a stir. I'm not going to say an upset, but a stir. I think they had a stronger team before. Now they have an aging Hamšík. And I think Skriniar is the only player that I genuinely rate in their squad. Lobotka is not necessarily bad at all. He's a good player. But, you need a striker. You need a number 9. And that is what Slovakia don't have. They have a young striker, but, a young couple of strikers, but they don't necessarily cut it. If you have a good central defensive midfielder, a good defender, and a good midfielder, you need someone to link up with up front, and they do not have that, and I think that'll be their undoing. Not every team can actually adapt to that situation. So, based on everything I've said, I would imagine that Spain would finish first in their group. I would also go out on a limb. I don't think it's really going out on a limb, but I will say that Slovakia will probably battle it out with Poland for third place. And that Sweden, who are quite possibly the most cohesive side of the three and the most balanced, will finish in second right behind Spain. Unless they somehow cause an upset, which is always possible in football. And, that's my prediction. Take it or leave it. Probably won't happen. Lose more credibility. Like I had anyways. And that's it for today's video. For this one at least. I still have, this is Group E. I have F to do. The group of flippin' death, as they call it. Can't wait for that one. So thank you all for tuning in once again. The links to our social media accounts are in the description below if you would like to follow us. Like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoy our content. Please let me know if you agree or disagree with anything I have said in the comments section. Let there be discourse. And I'll see you next time the whistle blows. Cheers, everyone.